All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army episode 2.202, and we got a lot to talk about this week. And we got a special, it's not really a guest, we just got a special co-host with us. We'll get to that in just a minute. So we're going to do headlines. We got relevant sports, Berhalter, US Open Cup, and Pulisic. Weekly What If, World Cup 2098 related. Premier League, got to talk about Arsenal, got to talk about Liverpool. Probably going to talk about some others too. Rest of world, we got Champions League on both sides of the Atlantic to discuss. And finally, stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everybody's favorite segment, GOAWs. But now it is time to welcome in these beauties here with me this week. First up, we got Mikey. And Mikey, your question. So you did a very cryptic tweet this week
Oh no.
involving Henrik Lundqvist. What was that about?
Oh, um, it's like one of the worst kept secrets in terms of New York is that he's doing a show, and it's with my company. So I've been working with the king himself. He is one of the coolest dudes in the world. So it's been really fun to work with him so far.
I was
He
gonna
brought
say,
his own guitar to the studio because he walked in. He's like, "I just want this next to me while we record." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." Uh, Impossibly good hair. Yeah, he's a good looking guy too. So not a lot going on for that guy, and he's fun to work with. So there you go.
all right, that explains it. Tyler Terrence is back from Cincinnati, so we're gonna keep this trend going. What's the best and worst thing you experienced or saw or whatever about Cincinnati?
Um, Best thing I experienced were the two places that, because we put it out there on Twitter, just sort of like ask for recommendations. So the two places we ended up going, Taglio's Pizzeria, and like, who knew that Cincinnati had good pizza? Detroit style hot honey pepperoni in Cincy was absolute fuego. And then that was a little precursor. Then we hit a couple of bars, and then we headed over to Eagle, which is a really good like fried chicken place. Great vibes in there. So the recommendations and the people were awesome. Finley Market was amazing the following day. The only bad thing was that like there was just like some blinding snow when we were taking off, leaving Cincinnati on Sunday morning. So it was just like a little scary, like, looking out the window and not really being able to see what's going on. And I'm just like, how the fuck are the pilots going to fly this morning? They're getting out of this. But hey, we took off at 7:27 and landed 8 o'clock local time in Chicago. So you can't hate that. I was through my door at 9, but no, great trip. And holy crap, the atmosphere at TQL is just like next level. It is one of the best places to call a game, probably play. Timmy, I'm sure, can attest to that, but it's a really, really special place. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. I mean, my only experience was US Mexico, and we won 2-0. So I obviously have some positive memories. I was wondering if regular game day experience would live up to that, but it sounds
But
like
it
it
wasn't a
does.
regular game day experience. It was the reigning Concacaf Champions League winners in town for the first time ever, like Seattle playing the best soccer in the league. It felt like a playoff game. Like it wasn't just, Cincy and DC on a Wednesday night. It was Cincy and Seattle for the first time ever in Cincinnati, and it was just electric. But anyway.
Listen, it was good. That's all we got to say. It was good.
Yeah.
All right. As I said, we got a special co-host. You guys know him well. Tim Parker of the undefeated first place St. Louis City SC jumping on with us. Toast of the town in St. Louis, I would imagine at this point. So Timmy, what, just give us a lay of the land of what your life has been like in the last, say, month.
Pretty crazy. I will just have to touch on something quick. Mikey, you working with Henrik Lundqvist is like the coolest thing ever.
Oh, unreal. The king.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a god.
A man.
Like
Absolutely the coolest.
Both the way he looks and like his like hockey ability. But yeah, back to St. Louis. It's been incredible. It's been really cool. Like the emotions are like an absolute roller coaster, I would like to say, just like in terms of, starting off the season with a win at Austin is probably something that obviously none of us kind of accounted for. But then to keep it like to get the win there, so like everyone's like at the peak of this mountain, like emotionally, and then we come home and we have our like homecoming first game here in like, I don't know, a long time. They waited, I think like there was something like 1,200 days to get for the game to come here, and then we win that game, and we're just like emotionally we're like all over the place. And then we go to Portland again this weekend and we win again, and like winning is just kind of boring. Yeah, Yeah, I mean the vibes have been incredible. You know, I mean, you can't really touch on it just because it was I would definitely say it's almost uncalled for, you know. No one would have thought that this was the start that we would have, and it's been awesome to be a part of it for sure.
Now, so 3 wins in 3 games, and I think there were probably some talking heads out there that didn't have you guys winning 3 games all season. Did you guys sort of take note of some of the preseason predictions?
Yeah, I mean, everyone always does. Like, it's just hilarious. When that stuff comes out, everyone loves to buy into it and look into it. I think our odds of winning MLS Cup jumped from like 10,000 to like 8,000 now. So like, but we just like, it's one of those things that you look at, you laugh at, and then you say like, okay, let's see where we end up,
All right. Tyler, we're Mikey.
Timmy, I got a serious one for you here. How does it feel that the league and the rest of the teams are conspiring to let you guys win your first few games by just having the other team pass the ball to your striker in a really good spot? It must feel like a little debilitating and like almost like a little pity-esque, but at the same time, you guys got 3 wins. Like, you can't really complain about it.
It's one of those things that we just like to say, like, a lot of these teams just aren't ready for the mental pressure that we just put on for 90 minutes, that they just like turn around, go colorblind, and pass it to the wrong guy.
Sorry.
It's part of like what we kind of, stress. And then
Is that something you work on in practice?
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many of those chances Klaus has missed in practice, but in games he's pulled them off, so it's worked out.
And is Jared Stroud your favorite kid from New Jersey now?
Yeah, he is right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I used to take him to school and training when we were younger. We used to train together when we were like 17, 18 years old. But he was like 5 years younger than me and was still balling. So it was a little unfair, but it's not for here nor there.
Now, quickly, back to those goals that like the other teams have been handing. That first one, especially the one at Austin. What was the talk in the locker room after that?
To be fair, a lot of us felt pretty bad for the guy that did it.
Yeah,
we felt bad for Kip Keller
because he was teammates with the guy he passed it to.
Stroud is like good friends with him too.
Yeah.
So we were like, Jared, did you call for it? And like, he's like, no, but it's like part of their thing that they always use like Stuver, like to build out of situations. So he's like, so I just like was getting up kind of lazy, and then like saw Kip turn around, and I was like basically like gestured to pass him the ball, and then he did it. And I think I was like running up the field, like screaming like a little kid, like, "No fucking way!" Like.
So he didn't have to say anything. It was just the gesture alone that got it.
I think so. I'm not really sure. It's unknown if the ball was called for or not.
Okay. Mikey, you got anything?
No, that's actually pretty incredible. Did you ever imagine your celebration going as poorly as it did on your first career goal, or no?
No. I could have never in 1,000 years actually would have thought that I would have scored.
How does your shoulder feel, by the way?
Yeah, it was kind of shoulder neck.
Yeah.
But me texting my wife and asking her if I could do the celebration was like kind of like a what if, not like I'm gonna score today, not like I won the games like thinking I'm gonna score.
Yeah.
When I was like, yeah, like I guess I'll ask her, and like if I score at some point this year, I could use that, And then it just so happened to be the first one.
It's incredible. Oh man, I was wondering if like you had actually asked her, or if you just like spur of the moment just did it. And so you asked. So you're just a true gentleman.
Well, and she like probably read the text. She responded back, and she was like, "Yeah, oh my god, LOL." But, like she said something like along the lines of like, "I would die," but like she was also like, "He's not going to score." Like,
of course. What's the energy like in St. Louis right now?
It's electric everywhere. There's like St. Louis City stuff everywhere. I mean, it's to be fair, we were walking around yesterday, and there was a Battlehawks game in St. Louis too, and that was sold out. Yeah. So people are wearing like St. Louis City gear stuff to Battlehawks games, and they're leaving with some Battlehawks gear too. So like, I mean, St. Louis, for what it's worth, I didn't know much about this city, but it is a true sports town in every way.
Yeah.
Suck it, Cronky.
Yeah, and I was gonna say if you don't know yet, they hate them some
Oh
Stan
yeah.
Kroenke.
Oh yeah.
Timmy, is this the most like recognizable you felt in whatever city you're playing in terms of like going out and people are like, oh shit, you're Tim Parker? Like
Yeah.
New York used to stop when Tim walked around, to be fair. I've seen it myself.
this subway would shut down.
Yeah, I would say that, like, obviously right now, especially with how we're doing, in Vancouver, it was pretty similar, but I think it's also just like the red hair kind of gives it away.
Mm.
You know, in Vancouver, it was like at the time when I was there, Sedins were there too.
Sedins, yeah.
Sedins were there too. So like there was 3 redheads in Vancouver, and I was one of them. And here, here it's kind of like an easy giveaway for me too.
Nice, nice. Well, I mean, we'll get to the MLS, the rest of MLS in a minute, but I mean, as somebody who has ties to St. Louis, I cannot wait to get to the stadium and sort of experience it firsthand. I mean, I saw the stadium, but without a game going on, I cannot wait. I mean, and it's just cool. Like the way you guys have started this season is amazing. You know, the fact that it's just developing the ties between the community and the fans and everything and the team. Like they will always, you guys could lose every game for the rest of the season and people still will remember. Hopefully you won't. Hopefully you won't. Definitely you won't. But like you're still gonna have that, just like that initial. You get what, one shot at making a first impression, and you guys have killed it. So congratulations, and I can't wait to see you doing your thing out there at St. Louis City Stadium. All right, we'll move on to the headlines and everything else, and then we'll get back to MLS later. But first headline: U.S. Appeals Court restored a lawsuit brought by Relevance Sports, and that's a marketing agency here in the U.S. This agency alleges that FIFA's unwillingness to sanction domestic games outside of a given country. So basically think La Liga games in Spain, right?
Yeah.
So what Relevant Sports wants to do is bring games to the US. Be it, I think the La Liga is the one that's been sort of talked about a lot, but Serie A, maybe even EPL, this type of stuff. FIFA has said that is no go. You can't do that. Relevant Sports is claiming in U.S. courts that breaks antitrust laws. So at first, I think the lawsuit was either thrown out or something, but now an appeals court has restored that. And now it'll go forward, and God knows how many years it'll be before we get an answer on this. But quick question to you guys. Start with you, Mikey. Do you want to see like a real official La Liga game here in the US?
It's going fine for the NFL. So if it's 1 to 2 games a year and it helps bring people to new markets and new fans and stuff like that, I think why not? I don't think it should be a classico or anything that really matters. But like how we send the Jets and the Jaguars over, I don't know if Tim could co-sign that anymore. I think we should be able to watch this Girona Mallorca game. Sure, fuck it, put it at MetLife. Who cares?
Okay. Tyler, anything to add there?
First of all, Aaron Rodgers ain't getting sent overseas this year. I'll tell you that right now. Second of all, I mean, I remember having this conversation on Sirius XM with Toney, and like, it was just there's a lot of gatekeeping that goes on when it's the reverse, when it's like a top European league sacrificing a game and sacrificing a match day for local fans to send it over to the United States, where like I would say like 90 to 95% of fans probably would be against it if they were asked to vote on it. But for the growth of the game and, for there to be that level of animosity towards it and that level of negativity, I think is like, I don't really understand that. Why wouldn't you want your league and your team's reach to grow, especially to a market like the United States? I would love to see it. But again, I'm with Mikey. Like, the last thing I would want is like European leagues resenting the Americans because like we stole a great game, a North London derby, a Merseyside derby, and played it at played it at Arrowhead. So yeah, I'm with them.
Any from a player perspective, Timmy? Any thoughts here?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, from a business side, completely makes sense. Like, these guys could probably make a lot of money by doing that. From a player side, like, how do you make that game feel real? Like, that would feel like a vacation for a player. But really, like, it would be like, oh wow, we get to go to America. Like, to go play a game, and like not in front of our fans. It would be like random fans, obviously. So then it would be like, okay, like, do we get to stay in America for a week too? Like after the game, you know, like, I don't know, like how you can justify like to the players, like, guys, this means just as much as playing it on your home field. Like it doesn't. There's no way.
Yeah. It'd be impossible to recreate the atmosphere, obviously.
Yeah, like
It would have to be a huge team with a shit team so that like the big team gets the proper crowd and it's like it's their home game technically. Like if it were Real
if it
Madrid,
doesn't sell out, that would be brutal.
if it's Madrid and Girona, then like that, yeah.
But then you're still putting it in like, okay, so like we said, like then it's gonna be in like, you know, a New York, a Miami, an LA. You know, you're gonna put it in one of those three markets, and the players are gonna be like loving every second of being in one of those three major cities.
It can't be in Miami. Nobody would make it back. It simply can't.
They wouldn't even make it to the game.
No.
Has anyone seen Neymar?
Well, we'll see how this goes. It'll probably be years before, you know, based on our judicial system, we learn anything. All right, moving on. A lot of Berhalter news this week. So it started over the weekend when he was spotted at the Fulham game. I guess we probably should call it the Arsenal game, the way it went. But so he went to see Tim Ream and Anthony Robinson play for Fulham against Arsenal, and apparently jinxed the hell out of them because they had the worst game they played in forever. And that's a team statement, but also Robinson and Ream didn't have good games either. But then the news continued. So this week, in fact, just today, US Soccer put out a statement. I won't read it all. It's kind of unnecessarily long. Basically, the gist of it is, though, that you know, they had an investigation into, you know, Berhalter's past activities when he was, you know, accused of, I don't know, manhandling his now wife or something like that. And then the investigation expanded outward and included, like, you know, the whatever happened between the Reynas, excuse me, and the Berhalters. So the statement was basically Berhalter's been cleared. Legally, he's cleared, and he's still a candidate to remain the head coach of the U.S. men's national team. So that's sort of the headline news. Also, you know, U.S. Soccer threw in that, oh, by the way, we're going to have to update our whatever parental communications code of conduct or something, which to me just feels obvious and just a throwaway line. But basically, it's the Berhalter is cleared, and he's still in the running to be head coach of the team moving forward whenever they hire a sporting director, and that sporting director will hire a head coach. I don't know. We've already talked about who we would like to see as you know, the head coach. Anything to add on this topic?
Unnecessarily long is an apt way to put the entire thing.
Yeah, not just the statement.
Did you guys see 2 hours ago, ESPN like released more?
Yup.
That, I mean, this Berhalter Reyna thing isn't going away. And like,
Reyna's gonna get clowned for this, right?
I think it's for that reason you either commit to not bringing Berhalter back because it's just going to swarm the national team for the next World Cup, or you you say goodbye to like the most promising national team players.
This was
because you have to
cover your ass.
There's no way these guys are able to work together again.
But the federation needed to conduct this investigation, and they needed to cover their ass and also legally state that Greg Berhalter is still available as a candidate, because if he's not, then he could turn around and sue for what could be alleged as like, you know, wrongful non-consideration for a position because of something that was abstract and, you know, taken out of context by the Reyna. So they needed to be able to say, like, he's excused. We conducted our investigation of whatever went down in 1992 or whatever it was, and he's cleared. He's still technically a candidate. Everybody's good legally. And then they're just going to say, we're going to go in another direction. We're not going to go with Greg Berhalter, but at least they can say that they conducted the investigation. So I think that this was just all a publicity thing, and I don't think there's any chance he's coming back.
And Sam, I've heard Fulham is actually a pretty nice place this time of year, and guys were having a good time and a nice day out. So I'm sure he wanted to just go see the game.
Yeah, maybe.
He didn't go to the Fulham game. He didn't go to the Arsenal game. He went to the Tim Ream game. That's the game that he went to.
Okay. By the way, random, but as a fellow center back, Timmy, like, what are your thoughts on Tim Ream, like, becoming the best version of Tim Ream in the history of Tim Ream over the last year or two?
It's awesome. It's just awesome. And he's all about it. You know, he's like, he says he feels great. Like he's completely and he's what, 34?
Yeah.
No, he's
Was there a big change? Did something happen?
I mean, he looks sharp. He looks really good. Like, and I don't know. I think he claimed that I don't know if he changed something, but he said that he feels amazing. Like everything he's been doing, he feels really good.
Is it giving you, you know, thoughts that you'll be doing this for the next, 15 years?
So I'm not even joking. The ref the other night when we were playing Portland told me, he was like, man, you look like reborn a little bit. You look faster. And I was just
Nice.
like, yeah, well, I just turned 30.
Peak male age.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I got faster overnight. But I mean, there is definitely something to be said about, like, you know, a change of scenery. I mean, Tim Ream's been at Fulham forever, but you know, maybe getting back in with the national team gave him like this, I don't know, a new feeling, and he's just been really thriving off of it.
Clearly. Did you take it, like, did you ever think like that ref was calling you like slow from before?
I think kind of a little bit, but maybe I was just like, maybe he's just giving me a compliment and saying like that St. Louis is like makes me look happy, and I'll take that.
Okay.
Love
Yeah.
that.
There you go. I like the positivity, positive Parker. Also on the headlines front here. Well, lastly, I guess Pulisic, no surprise here. He's got to go this summer, and you know the new reports are the same as the old reports in that he is probably leaving Chelsea this year. No surprise. Any update, Mikey? Start with you. Any update on where you'd like to see him go?
I think Chelsea needs to be banned from signing wingers for 5 years. They ruin careers. They don't play with any true wingers, and they buy all the cool ones. I probably want him to go back to the Bundesliga, if we're being honest. Like, I could see him flying with like a Leverkusen or one of those 6 to 12 range Bundesliga teams where he's playing every week. I think that would be great. I'd like to see that version of him again.
That's pretty.
I don't want him in the Prem
low.
anymore. I want him to dominate somewhere. I want him to get the confidence back that he's the man, and then come back and try again.
So
I think he's been beaten down by Chelsea.
Well, that's true. Would you rather him go to, say, a Wolfsburg over like a AC Milan?
Yes. Well, specific example, yes. I don't think AC Milan's a very attractive place for wingers either. But no, like, I'd want him to go somewhere where he's familiar and comfortable and happy so he can thrive, and then take another stab at it once he gets his confidence back.
Okay. Tyler, Tim, any thoughts there?
Yeah, I think definitely moving kind of in line with Mikey. I don't have a specific team, but I definitely think that moving down in terms of like going to a middle table team would be better off for him. Exactly where Mikey's at, you know, like get his confidence going, like turn him into an every week starter where he can actually start getting rhythm, get going again. And then from there, I mean, hopefully he just gets sold, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been kind of a dumpster fire to say the least.
Chelsea is a dumpster fire. What about staying in the Premier League, you know, going down to say a Leeds?
Not Leeds. I mean, look, I like Leeds, but like if you put another American on that team and Leeds don't stay up, now we're trying to find a way to watch championship football, and I just don't want to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're at risk of having to do that anyway. Tyler?
I'm on board. Maybe 12 is a little bit unfair to Christian. I don't know.
Yeah,
Seriously,
yeah.
that felt like a shot.
That's fair. I'll take that note.
Okay, we'll move on.
The current 12 team is Cologne, FC Cologne. So you're right. I don't want to see him there with
And
the guy with the hat.
Yeah, and they're that's high for them too. So I would imagine they're going to end up at 15 by the end of the season. So
I think that's fair.
All right, weekly what if time. We've had some good ones recently. I don't know if you guys are going to like this one or not, but I think I may have taken a gummy or something when I came up with it. But so when it was, I was trying to turn this into a hypothetical, but like, because it's not really hypothetical, but if you, Tyler already hates it, if you had to put all of your life savings on one team / country, one country to win World Cup 2098. So I won't even try to do the math. 65 years, 75 years. I can't remember what year we're in right now. But basically, at the end of this century, who would you put your money on to win that World Cup?
Well, we have to initially gauge the political climate from Tyler in order to get a
I
good
know. That's
assumption
why I was going to send it over to
So
our
by
political
2098,
correspondent.
NATO's going to look very different around that time. So, no, well, the question is how many male grandchildren does Messi have in this hypothetical situation?
Hopefully a lot.
I feel like that would be great grandchildren at that point.
I'm going with Brazil and running with it because I feel comfortable with that.
Why not the US? If I'm going to put my life savings on something that's totally unknown and out of reach, then why wouldn't I just do it for the Stars and Stripes?
I like it. I like
sure.
what Tyler said.
Are they taking that at FanDuel?
They should be.
Ivan Toney's mediocre bet.
Timmy, what do you got?
I went like a whole different route. I was going like somewhere like completely random. Like I was thinking like Qatar or like the UAE. Like just in terms of like these countries just seem to be like getting richer and like more people seem to be moving there. So then I was like, if they have the money, like they're gonna funnel it somewhere and they like soccer. So then that's like an easy out. I was like, in whatever that is, 70 years. Some of these, it's like money's just going to trickle down and then these kids are just going to get better. So I'm just thinking maybe that they have the opportunity here.
Interesting. I kind of went your route and I went off the beaten path. I wasn't taking, Brazil, or I thought about the US, but at the end of the day, 70 years down the road, they got a ton of money. They got more people than anybody. China. I got to go China. Like, I'm not sure that, like, they had that like 5-year period where soccer was big there. I assume because the government was pushing it for some unknown reason. And then it's gone like silent. Seemed to be like some sort of bubble popped. And, who was the Chelsea player that got sent over there? I can't think of the guy's name, but
Oscar?
Yes, Oscar is the only one left, I think, in China at this point of all those expats that got sent there. But I think that by 70 years down the road, China will either, be, and this is a political question that Tyler can weigh in on. They're either going to be like, 15 different countries, or they're going to basically rule the world at that point. And so with all their money and all their people, they, soccer, they're just like the US, we want to control everything. We want to be the best at every sport. They'll get over their hype for basketball and they'll move on to soccer. I think soccer.
All right, Michael Scott, with your sort of like irrational fear that China's taking over as the #1 country in the world.
I mean, if they listen, they got some issues there, but there's enough people there that they're gonna take over at some point. It's just a matter of when. So I'm going China. I think I won that one. Point for Sam in the weekly what if column. Let's move on to the Premier League. So we've always had kind of the clearly biggest result and biggest game of the week for the last several, but now we finally got another one where I can ask this question and actually mean it. I'll go to you, Mikey, first. Ooh. What was the most notable result of the weekend for you?
Man, I actually want to say it was the Spurs victory coupled with the Liverpool loss. Is that fair? Can I do that?
Yeah,
because I think it rises you from the dead and gives you more hope. And honestly, as from what this season has taught me, is if I can get one more moment of you feeling good and then coming back down hard again, that would be awesome. So for me, it was those two results back together. Tyler, that's a long-term investment in your club, by the way. I am wearing the Liverpool hat when they play every weekend. And honestly, Sam, I take your wins almost like it's like a laugh forming in the back of my throat. I'm ready to crack up next week. So it's been fun watching so far. That's my weekend.
I appreciate that. And you just sort of ignoring the fact that you're in a title race right now. And for the first time, well, not for the first time.
It helps me to focus on you. It really does.
It does. I was just going to say, Timmy, Parker, by the way, is also a Spurs fan, so you're basically laughing at both of us.
Sorry, not laughing. Great result this weekend.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, you didn't include the United draw in that sort of package.
No, because I bet on the loss. I told you I was going to bet all the I bet Villa, Southampton, and Leicester and went 0 for 3. So I was pretty upset about it. So even though they drew and they looked good, I saw plus 700 on the money line instead of the plus 200 draw, and I fucking bit it. I'm an idiot.
That goes for all of us, especially in Ivan Toney's best bet.
But I had them right. They just didn't, generate a shot on target the other way. So
okay. Most notable result, Timmy, you want to go?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, Man United tying was up there, but
fun.
Yeah.
At home to Southampton is that's a
What's
game.
Anthony doing promising victories?
I didn't even see that. He promised.
Casemiro got sent off and he walked up to him and he said, I'm going to win this for you, like very visibly. Then got subbed off midway through the second half and they tied 0-0.
That's embarrassing. By the way, quickly, not to get us too off topic, but the Casemiro's red card.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, is it a red?
For me, absolutely. If you come over I know intent, I understand his intent was not to, come in like that, right? I mean, it looked like it was a fair challenge that he was trying to make, but he went over the ball and his stud was completely showing and went straight into over the Southampton players, mid shin. Like that, for me, I know that it wasn't like there was no intent to injure and it wasn't hard enough that he could have broken his leg or anything. But if you come in studs up that high, even over the ball, like even because the ball sort of helped him go that high, for me, that's a red card all day, every day. I was shocked how many United fans were disagreeing with me.
Even Tim disagrees with you.
Why were you shocked?
I don't know. I guess I'm easily shocked. Wow. Tim, it sounds like you didn't think that was right.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it just didn't seem like it had to be, if I'm being honest. Like, I think if the ref gets away with like giving him a yellow, then it's like, okay, he can get away with giving that a yellow card. That's where I stood on it. I was like, he didn't have to necessarily give the red.
Yeah. I can see that. I think that you have to give a red if it's that high and your studs are showing. I just think in this day and age, especially where VAR and refs are being judged after the fact so much, I feel like they had to give a red. Mikey, you disagree?
I think they should ban the ability to pause the video.
Screenshots
Honestly,
make everything worse, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, screenshots, you'd think he tried to end his career. I don't know. It how I feel about the whole cake. There's nothing new there. I think it's stupid.
Red card?
Yeah.
I thought the worst call of the day was, how did they not give a penalty in that game? The Southampton guy like fell down and basically like kind of like caught the ball with his arm, while he was on his knees. Like, I know this is like a weekly thing at this point, but I don't understand where we're at with handballs at this point. I've given up. I have no idea. Results. Okay. United mentioned Tottenham in a backhanded compliment sort of way.
Full compliment.
We got to talk about Liverpool. So, I mean, what? They were back. You were back, Tyler. You were so back. What happened?
Maybe shit, maybe not.
You guys are crazy.
We're insane. we are actually insane. We looked so void of any sort of quality and any sort of glimpse or hope that we were going to score a goal throughout the course of that game. Clyde Tilsley was ready to call the goal when Salah took the penalty. He said, no problem. And like when he saw the keeper go one way and then the ball go the other, and then it sails 5 feet. I'm so fucking frustrated every single time I watch this team. Even when I said it on a different podcast. I was just like, we're going to lose to Bournemouth after we just did what we did to United. I was like, I promise you, this is who we are. I don't know what it is. Every big game for the most part, with the exception of home against United, we've shown up. So it just makes me think that this group, with the injuries thrown in, just refuses to get up for any game that is not against a big six club or like has massive stakes in a knockout tournament, whatever it might be. Like, if you played 60 games and you're playing in every final and you're making a run at a title in the Premier League, and then you're asked to go do the same thing next year and you're playing against Bournemouth after you just wallop United with a touchdown and an extra point, well, how the fuck are you going to get up for that? Or at least that's what it looks like, because there's no other explanation to be able to put on one performance that day and then 6 days later turn around and fucking lay an egg like that. It's nauseating. I don't know.
So does your schizophrenia, the schizophrenic profile of this team, does it give you hope going into because you said they've gotten up for every game, big game, Real Madrid first leg.
We were up for it.
You're up for it at the beginning. That's true. Yeah. So does it give you a little bit of hope coming into this?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, hope is an interesting word here. It keeps me intrigued every week. I like it. There's a possibility, but like, I'm with Mikey. The Liverpool the Liverpool loss paired with Spurs and Newcastle win, that's the best thing to happen to the top 4 race. And if that keeps going back and forth, then yeah.
Buy a season pass. I've officially purchased a season pass to Liverpool. The next 4 games are at Madrid, at City, at Chelsea, home to Arsenal.
We might win all 4, and then we'll
possibly. That's the thing. You could absolutely win all 4 of those games, and then you lost to Bournemouth at home. So I love you guys, genuinely. You've become Darwin Nunez as a club.
I've been saying this for weeks now. We are embodying the spirit of Darwin Nunez. Maybe
I love it.
We could have it's incredible. Like, I don't know what is Klopp saying to them at this point? What can you say to these guys? You cannot go and put on these back and forth, like, it's just like Ross and Rachel in the Premier League. It's just back fucking unbelievable.
That's
I mean, it does kind of speak to them perhaps having tuned Klopp out a little bit, right? It kind of seems that way.
Well, it's not tuning Klopp out. I just think that the pieces don't lend to his style of play. Like, Bajcetic doesn't have that profile in terms of like the pressing, super athletic midfielder that Klopp wants in the middle of the park. He's like 3rd or 4th option right now. Yeah, he's been playing well, but he's 18 years old. He's scrawny as all hell, and he doesn't do this. He doesn't do the type of work that Fabinho and Henderson a couple of years ago consistently did, like, and that Thiago do. Like, it's just not the same shit. So I think it's the tools right now more so than the message. But like, I don't know, man. I'm done having any sort of expectations, but I'll continue to say we're back every big win that we have, and I'll continue to say I'm sorry and eat my shit the following week when we have shit performances. So round and round we go.
It's why people tune in, I think. Well, we got to talk about Arsenal. I got to say that win 3-0 at Fulham. Yeah, that's kind of scary for me. That's kind of like what a team that might actually.
They're so much different without Paulinho, I have to say.
True.
In reading a lot before the game, they were like, this is not going to be a problem for Arsenal. I felt more comfortable going into that one without Paulinho. And weirdly enough, not seeing Willian, just the narrative was gone in my head. I was like, all right, this is not going to happen. And yeah, it was really poor. I don't want to bash Anthony Robinson, but that second goal kind of changed the whole game. It went deflated after that. And like I said, a nice day out in Fulham, lovely place.
Lovely. Yeah, you guys look like possible title winners in that game.
Trossard's a lot of fun, man. I know Liverpool fans don't love him, but he's a lot of fun.
Hey man, anybody who scores a hat trick at Anfield is okay in my book.
Hell yeah, that's respect.
Other games, Leeds showed up, got a home result against Brighton. That's not nothing. They needed that.
Yeah,
that bad. City, you guys were. I think it was both you, Mikey and Tyler, who were basically saying that, or maybe it was Mikey and Mitch. You're saying
I thought it was gonna be a tough day out.
It was. It was. Palace made that real tough. But thank God.
They're good at home. Just a bonehead mistake.
Yeah.
That's it.
What else we got?
As a
Anything else?
defender, Tim, is there anything worse than you pitching a shutout and one of your forwards commits a foul in the box? Like,
I mean, actually, yes. One of the other worst things, and I will get this engraved on my tombstone, is like when you're winning and a forward like shoots, like you have the ball and a forward takes an unnecessary shot instead of like going to the corner. And then like the goalie just catches it and you can see in the goalie's eyes that he's
breaks
just
on.
punt this as far as he can, and then you have to deal with it because your forward took a bonehead shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually was screaming at guys at the end of the Portland game because we took like 3 unnecessary shots.
It's incredible. It's like a disease. And even though every player knows that they shouldn't be doing it, they do. Like Cincinnati were doing the same shit at the end of the Seattle game this week too. Like up a goal, 99th minute, and guys are trying to take guys on dribbling. It's like,
I mean,
experienced players are doing this. It's wild.
I'm like, guys, just like kick the ball out in the corner. I don't even care if you keep it there. Just kick it out over there. We can like keep the ball there. And they're like, yeah, but what if I score? And I'm like, what if
It's a great point. It's a great point.
You're taking the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, but what if I score?
I love the what if I score point. But then I'm like, I'm not kidding. I have done this before where like we'll score in like the 90th minute or something like that. And I'll run up to the guy and I'll be like, you are so dumb. Like, you are so dumb, but I love you. Like, and then
Kangaroo court. We should owe you $20.
Yeah.
But Tim can also make these claims as one of the leading goal scorers at St. Louis City. So like, he's like, guys, it's fun to score a goal, but like it's, it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal.
Have you been lording that over like all the guys who haven't scored yet, like forwards that haven't scored?
No, I haven't, but maybe I should.
How big?
FIFA's got to know to up your rating for sure.
How big is your goal bonus? It's got to be massive. It's probably half your salary.
Yeah, I wish. That would have been something. No, my goal bonus is like nothing. I actually, what's so sad is I forgot I even had a goal bonus. That's how long it is. That is the sad part.
I have a what?
Yeah.
What even is that? By the way, I forgot to say this before, but congratulate your celebration, which we talked about earlier, was you putting the ball under your jersey and basically, the universal "I'm having a baby" sign. And congratulations, by the way. Welcome to the club. All right, quickly, power rankings.
Guy gets out of New York and immediately has a kid.
Couple years in Houston, waylaid. But actually, it's funny that because my wife, who's from St. Louis, says that like all her friends, get knocked up as soon as they go back to St. Louis. So it's sort of funny that you went there and then you didn't get knocked up, but you knocked somebody up. Power rankings, top 4. Perfect segue. Tyler Terrence, why don't you start us off here? Top 4, who you got?
Arsenal City, Newcastle, Liverpool.
You're keeping Liverpool in there.
I am too.
Listen, we have a +6 goal differential over the past 2 games.
You bet against them, Sam. You bet against them. Neutral ground, they're killing everyone or losing. I have no idea.
Neutral ground, I am not taking them in my top 4. I'm moving Arsenal into 1 after that. I know it's tough to go to Palace. I got to put Arsenal at 1. I'm putting City 2. I'm going Newcastle 3.
Do it. Just do it. I know you want to.
Tottenham 4. Tottenham 4.
I agree. That's a good call, Sam. That's a good call. I agree.
This is not how I see the season playing out. I'm just saying right here, right now, you lost to Bournemouth. I can't put you in the top 4. It's also tough to
favorite.
I think that United will eventually end up in the top 4 too, but you can't put them there after that performance against Southampton either. So I'm going Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Tottenham. Timmy, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Arsenal, City. I'm going to keep Man U at 3, even though they've been kind of shit. And then I'm going to put I can't put Tottenham there.
No, it doesn't feel good.
I can't. Like, I'd rather be wrong and then prove me wrong and find their way into the top 4. So I'll put Newcastle above Tottenham.
That's fair.
Power rankings. This is okay. This outside of the fact that this is the dumbest segment on this podcast. You need to.
Tyler hates it. Mitch hates it.
No, but it's gotten to the.
I love it.
It's gotten to the point where power rankings are now just a vehicle for reverse jinx. So like the power rankings don't actually fucking mean anything. The fact that they're putting United in there and not putting Spurs is obscene. There's no point to do the power rankings anymore because he doesn't actually believe that.
The power rankings is all about creating what you want to happen. So I want Spurs to prove me wrong.
Mikey's responsible for all of this.
Mikey is a reverse jinx master. He definitely drives.
I was gonna say no.
You don't even know when you're reverse jinxing anymore, Mikey.
Agreed. The lines are so blurred.
I want you to figure this one out. All right, I'm gonna go Arsenal 1 and City 2. So that's pretty straightforward. Of being an honest guy. And the 3rd and 4th best teams in the Premier League right now. 3, I have Tottenham, and 4, I have Liverpool. I think neither one of you guys is in any position. You know, I think Tottenham's pretty much secured top 4, but Liverpool's still playing like a top 4 side.
See, that's when he goes off the rails.
I picked Arsenal first. I am not going off the rails. That is how I feel.
You are off the rails. You're off the reservation.
No way.
The Subtle have already secured top 4. They are locked in.
Conte in.
All right, let's go to the other side of the table. This is actually, I don't know, perhaps even more difficult.
Way more difficult.
I don't even know. Tyler, can you give it a shot?
It's ugly down there.
It is ugly, but
and
I'll go.
They're so packed together too.
I'll go. Southampton, West Ham, Bournemouth.
3 teams that collectively got 5 points this weekend.
I don't take any stock into any of this. This fucking segment doesn't mean it does.
He's so mad. Nothing gets Tyler and Mitch.
I think Wolves and Southampton stink. I do. And then it's hard to keep Forest out of there. So that's my 3.
Wolves is in third. You saying Wolves is down there is more ridiculous than me saying with 3 teams that got a collective 5.
I think Wolves stink.
They stunk in the first half. I do not think they stink anymore.
But it's also based upon what we know about Wolves. They stink comparatively to what Wolves have been in the past, which is typically where Mikey wants Christian Pulisic to go 6 through 12.
Honestly, yeah. He's not Portuguese though.
I'm gonna give my 3, and then I gotta get out of here, fellas. I would definitely go Southampton. I'm gonna go Bournemouth. I want to say Leeds, but a part of me just can't. Yeah, I would probably go West Ham as well.
Yes.
I mean, I want to say Leeds, but I really don't want to say Leeds as well.
I know. I'm with you on that. I feel the
Somebody
exact same way. Timmy, thank you for jumping on. Honestly, congrats on early success. Also having a kid. Congrats to you and your wife. And we will we'll see you again soon. And I will see you in St. Louis at that stadium doing your thing before too long. Can't wait.
Absolutely, fellas. Always a pleasure.
Cheers, brother.
See you, bud.
Okay, let's move on to I guess we'll quickly weekend ahead, real quick. Any games stand out? We got some midweek games, and then we actually have FA Cup screwing everything up in the coming weekend. So Fulham, Liverpool games postponed, Man City, West Ham's postponed, Brighton United postponed. Yeah, it's not gonna be a great weekend. But anyway, any of the games stand out? You can go FA Cup or regular domestically.
I think midweek's kind of fun. Brighton Palace will be a fun watch, but again, that's a shit game.
It's gonna be a dog shit game.
I know. I always get so excited for midweek. Chelsea Everton have narratives. It's gonna be ugly as well, but that one might be a little bit spicy. This is possibly the worst collection of games I've ever seen.
It actually wasn't much better like last weekend. Last weekend was pretty shit too. But maybe
I mean, Southampton, Tottenham. If I'm near a TV that has that on, I'm breaking it. I don't know. Nothing interests me.
I mean, I'm kind of interested on the FA Cup side, Man City and Burnley. I wish that game was at Burnley.
It's gonna be really fun.
That Burnley is just like, they're just not the team that everybody remembers. Like, they're just completely different now.
Fun to bet on.
And if you like overs, Burnley has been very nice. Like, we'll get to Ivan Toney's best bets in just a minute. But by the way, Wrexham, I've been looking for teams that like fulfill my need for goals. Wrexham, and I think it's Notts County. I'm gonna have to check out who it
That's
is.
some obscure shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the National League, so it's not.
And you're making money on that? That's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
You need to be
it's
busier.
Wrexham and Notts County. Those two teams, Wrexham did not get the over this weekend, but before that, Notts County and Wrexham in the National League have been scoring goals left and right, and have been a secret gold mine for overs. Anyway, that got us off topic. Let's move on. If Mr. MLS Hit-It-N-Quit-It Minute Man gets back from relieving himself, we will start.
A lot of coffee today. I apologize.
All good. So, Mr. MLS Hit-It-N-Quit-It Minute Man, you ready to hit us with it?
Always. All right. Buckle up, folks. Week 3. Here we go. So we are going to have to start with an absolute beating of Charlotte FC at Bank of America Atlanta United. 3-0 winners, 18-year-old Caleb Wiley, not with 1, not with 2, but 2 goals and an assist, as Charlotte have all sorts of problems, have not picked up a single point in their first 3 games. Vancouver and Dallas played a 1-1 draw. NYCFC with a big win over Inter Miami after a draw against Chicago in week 2. Miami were coming off of an epic win against the Philadelphia Union, but bounced back on the road. Not in spectacular fashion. Philadelphia Union 1-0 winners over the Chicago Fire. Fabian Herbers, former Philadelphia Union member, gets sent off midway through the second half. Kai Kamara gets sent off late in stoppage time, and the Fire would give up a bad goal late to Joaquin Torres, and that would be a 1-0 win for the Philadelphia Union. FC Cincinnati, despite going down a man in the 84th minute, had already taken a 1-0 lead thanks to Brenner, and they hold on for a big win over the Seattle Sounders, who suffered their first loss and first speed bump in the 2023 season, despite them coming in number 1 in MLSsoccer.com's power rankings, which are much more formidable and much more trustworthy than anything that goes on in this podcast power rankings. DC United, Orlando City, 1-1. Good point for DC United at home against Orlando City side that's rotating due to CONCACAF Champions League. Toronto FC and Columbus. Excellent game here between Bob Bradley and Wilfred Nancy. Finishes 1-1. Federico Bernardeschi, on the score sheet once again. Sporting KC and LA Galaxy, a battle of 2 MLS originals, played to a 0-0 draw. Minnesota and Red Bulls played to a 1-1 draw. Nashville, big win over Club de Foot Montreal, 2-0 at Geodis Park. Real Salt Lake at home against Austin FC. Owen Will for this first Major League Soccer goal, and he gets onto the team of the week as well. Austin with a 2-1 win. San Jose Earthquakes with a 1-0 win over the Colorado Rapids, despite going down a man. And then, as we already talked about with our ginger friend, Mr. Tim Parker, 2-1 winners at Portland Timbers, which is a huge result once again for the members of St. Louis City. Portland with all sorts of injuries and all sorts of issues. And then LAFC, I have a feeling, are going to be number 1 in the power rankings heading into week number 4 as they pick up a 4-0 win over Bruce Arena's New England Revolution. And that would do it for week number 3.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, I actually watched a lot of the. I like this Apple, whatever they're calling it, season pass, free pass, whatever the hell it is. I like it. It's made watching these games.
Get my employer's name out your mouth. It's MLS Season Pass.
Season
Not
pass.
that difficult. Yeah.
Season pass. I'm trying to give it a compliment. God damn it. I like it. So far so good. I think the wraparound show. I really like Liam McHugh. I think that dude is like the next Bob Costas. But anyway, I mean that as a compliment as well. He's doing a great job. I think the panel will come together. I like the show. I like the format, and I don't know, whatever the interface with the app, they just make it really easy. Obviously, people hate the fact you got to get another streaming service, and that I can actually agree with, especially when it comes to getting newer fans and more casual fans. But just for fans of MLS, I mean, I've been loving it big time, and watching a lot more MLS games. LAFC looks good. They look really good. I thought New England, because New England looked good in their first couple games, and just LAFC just just truck stick them. What else stuck out? That goal Chicago gave up. Oh God, it wasn't the goal itself. It's just like that loss really hurt.
It's just so Chicago fiery.
It's just, God damn it. Let's get it together here. One of these times. That one really hurt. I mean, they played a good Philly team and, hanging on to a 0-0.
They played well up until the red card. Like, they were on the front foot. They created opportunities. They were playing in a 3-back because of all the injuries they suffered in week 1 or week 2, I should say. But yeah, I mean, that was just painful.
Yeah.
But nothing unfamiliar for Fire fans at this point.
No, unfortunately. Hopefully turn a corner at some point. And St. Louis is the story of the season so far for me. I don't know if I'm just being biased as somebody with ties to St. Louis and ties to Timmy and everybody, but it's just so cool to see them succeeding in the way that they are. Hopefully they can keep that going. Now moving on to a related matter, Concacaf Champions League. So we had the first week of games last week. We got the return legs this week. Most of the MLS teams are well placed to move on. Philly is 0-0 heading home. Vancouver is up 5-0 going on the road. Orlando City 0-0 going home. LAFC up 3-0 going home. What else? And that's it, except for one that we haven't talked about, Austin FC. So Austin went to the Violette AC. It's a Haitian club. They went there and they lost 3-0 on the road last week. And now they're coming home. So you'd think they'd have a decent shot at turning things over. This is where things get weird. I don't know if you guys have been following this story at all on Twitter, but apparently Violette was only able to get visas for like 10 players. They don't even have a full 11 to bring to the US for this Concacaf Champions League game. Now, I have no idea who's at fault for that. Whether the club just dropped the ball, whether Concacaf did not give them the resources or the support that they needed, whether the US government is, finding a way to help MLS. I mean, obviously, I'm sure that's not the case, but like something weird is going on, and it stinks because this small club probably had, probably one of the biggest wins that they've ever had, at least on the international stage, and now they can't even really play in the return leg. I saw some NPSL team tweeted out that one of their players is going to play in this game for the Violette. I'll pull up who it was.
They're literally recruiting players.
Yeah.
It's
FC Motown Celtics is who the NPSL.
That's a good NPSL team, by the way.
They're champions.
Yeah. But this is nothing new for Haiti and coming into the United States. It's always been very difficult for them. I've covered CONCACAF for so many years now, and like that is never have I ever seen a full Haitian 20-man roster whenever they're traveling to a team, if they're in this sort of continental competition, whether it's in CONCACAF League or CONCACAF Champions League. CONCACAF League, for those of you unfamiliar, is essentially kind of ish Europa League, but it's also the champions of Central American teams. They don't automatically get a bid into Champions League. They have to go through CONCACAF League. Anyway, this is not surprising. And again, I never really got clear answers when I was covering them as to whose fault it technically is. I think it's kind of a mixed bag and a combination and a comedy of errors between CONCACAF maybe not helping out as much as they should, Haiti not being on top of their stuff, and then the U.S. Embassy over there. I don't know. It's difficult though, for sure. But hey, Austin FC got some work to do, man. No matter who's on the field, coming back from a 3-0 deficit is not easy, whether you're playing against Joe Schmo at the fire pitch or, whoever the starter is for Violette.
True. I almost was going to be at this game. So the game's tomorrow on Tuesday. I'm actually going to Austin. Every year, high school friends get together in a city somewhere in the U.S. to watch the first weekend of NCAA tournament. And this weekend we're going to Austin. And I thought about sort of looping in that CONCACAF Champions League game because I really want to see a game at their stadium. It sounds like vibes are great. The Mrs. Army put the kibosh on that pretty quick, unfortunately. So I will not be there.
Which, we haven't talked about yet, but obviously you're trying to go a whole podcast without talking about the fact you shaved your beard and look like you're 14 years old. But we'll address that at a later date.
I was wondering if anyone was going to comment on that. Yeah, I got a very hard ultimatum shave the beard, or bad things will happen. And I caved. I caved. I caved. It was unfortunate. Not one of my finest moments, but she doesn't fight fair. Negotiation tactics were asymmetrical. Let me just leave it at that. So the beard's gone. Thank you for noticing, Mikey. Oh, by the way, any Austin people, actually the guy who runs where what Austin, I'm gonna get that wrong.
You already did.
Yeah. Do you know what they count? What
is it?
Who, where, what Austin, I think is.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is when, where, what.
Got
I
it.
was close. When, where, what Austin. The guy that runs that, I'm sort of internet friends with him, so he's going to give me some suggestions. But even anybody in Austin, if you have any suggestions for restaurants that would be good for just to experience Austin, or sports bars where it'd be good to watch the NCAA tournament, hit me up. I will. I'm open to suggestions. There's free advertising for myself. Anyway, so we will go on to Champions League, not the real one, the one on the other side of the Atlantic, the UEFA Champions League. And we got some, we don't need to look back. There's no point in looking back. Let's look forward. Let's just focus on what's ahead of us, so we don't have to talk about Tottenham shitting the bed in just, new and painful ways against Milan. How we go home only down 1 goal and just, I don't know, do nothing. 0-0 in a Champions League must-have game. That was just so depressing. That hurt so badly. Thankfully, PSG fell apart in more, high-profile ways, so they sort of overshadowed the shit performance that Spurs put on. But that was just so sad. It was so sad. Now looking forward, this week on Tuesday we have Porto hosting Inter, down 1-0. That is a very interesting tie. Man City hosting RB Leipzig 1-1. Napoli hosting Eintracht Frankfurt up 2-0, and Real Madrid up 5-2 going home on Liverpool. These games, by the way, I know we talked a lot about Bayern PSG. We talked a lot. I've cried a lot about, Tottenham. We've laughed a lot about Liverpool. Man City could go out of this tournament at this point. It'd be a shocker. But like, if City goes down right here, that's got to be a bigger collapse than Bayern losing, or PSG losing to Bayern, like big time, right?
Yeah, PSG Bayern clearly could have been a freaking final. I mean, if City crash out, that's the worst Arsenal fan news of all time.
True. Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
That would be catastrophic. Put all the eggs in that basket now.
I hadn't even thought about that. Now I know where I can put all my life.
Oh, I am rooting very hard for a deep City run in this year's Champions
League. Now we asked Tyler what his hopes and dreams for that Liverpool game. Your answer was actually quite funny, but you're pretty much resigned to your fate at this point in Champions League.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can ask me questions like that. Like, you already got your riled up answer from Tyler on Liverpool. This podcast. You're being greedy now. All right. Like, what do you want me to say at this point? You want me to make more of a fool out of myself? You want more content for the podcast? Like, I mean, come on, man. I give you gold every week, and it's unintentional. But if you want me to be a jackass, then I will. Sure, we're back. We're gonna come back at the Bernabeu and score 4 unanswered. Sure, love it. You think it's possible though, right? Outside. Okay, we'll move on. I'm actually that Inter Porto fixture, like with Porto going home down only 1 goal, a la Tottenham Hotspur. That seems like a really interesting matchup. So those Tuesday games should be a lot of fun. Okay, let's move on to stoppage time, starting with Ivan Toney's best bets as named by Mikey Fowler. Tyler is ready to go with his 6-leg ridiculous parlay. What do you got? Just 2 legs.
2 legs.
Just okay. 2 legs. We're keeping it simple, but we're still going to dream big. Palace and who they playing? Brighton draw on Wednesday, and then to pair that with a Leicester win against Brentford on the road for a casual plus 15-20.
15.
You're welcome.
20. Good Lord. So much for us keeping it together a little bit. Mikey, what do you got?
I don't know what the odds come out to, but I feel pretty good about this one. I like FC Porto to win or draw against Inter Milan, because I think best case scenario for Inter is get out of there 0-0. Worst case is extra time. I don't see them. I think Porto did really well in the away leg, and I think if one thing about the Champions League has reigned true so far this year or in the last calendar year, is that you don't fuck around against Portuguese sides in Portugal. And Inter fucks around too much. So I think this is a big old hole here. So I'd like Porto to get a result. Put that with City to win by more than 1.5 against Leipzig. I think they kill them there. So I think if you stretch the odds a little bit by adding that extra goal, I think City win by more than 1 goal against Leipzig at home.
Okay. All right. I definitely like your play on Porto there. I think that's exactly right.
Portugal is just like a hotbed right now. There are so many great young players in those top 4 teams.
Listen, Portuguese in Champions League, you never bet against them.
Mm-mm.
Plus 535 on that. So it'd be City minus 1.5 is what you're saying?
Yeah. That's great. I love that.
That's not a bad. I might roll with you on that.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I'm gonna go to the weekend. I will go with Aston Villa beating Bournemouth, because it just makes sense that Bournemouth will just, they won their Super Bowl last weekend. So I think Villa over Bournemouth is, and I know Villa has not been great, but I think they get that win. I'll just leave it there. I won't go ridiculous and give out the 1,500. Aston Villa to win. All right, go is time. Everybody's favorite segment. Oh, who wants to go first? Anybody? Any volunteers?
Oh boy. There are quite a few here. I should have given it to Anthony for promising a victory and then just absolutely not showing up anymore. I'm gonna need a minute, Sam. I'm sorry. I gotta do some backlog checking of my Twitter likes.
I can start out if you want me to go first, Tyler.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give mine out to a shout out to Philip Goodrum, who is a Memphis 901 player in USL. He was very open about sort of his desires to get sold to a bigger club after he had a huge season last year. Put up 20 however many goals. And I understand where the Memphis club is coming from. So they're there to win games, right? And they're put people in seats, put butts in seats. So it's an interesting dynamic. But I just thought it was really interesting of him to just be completely honest with an interview he gave. And he's like, you know what, I really wanted to move on, move up. But he's still young and he's got more time to do it. So shout out to Philip Goodrum. And my actual GOAT is LAFC fans. Groups like the 3252 and the other supporter groups, because they traveled in numbers to the game in Costa Rica, the Concacaf Champions League game in Costa Rica last week. They played Alajuelense. And so not only did they travel in numbers and they were making, all sorts of noise in the corner, they went up 2-0 and they started chanting Dosa Zero, which I love. Doesn't exactly work with Costa Rica, but listen, it always works. Anytime you can chant Dosa Zero, you do it. And so they ended up winning, I think 3-0, LAFC did. And the LAFC fans, they made sort of such a commotion and they were just so, hyped or whatever, that security at the stadium made them leave early because, if they had all the traveling fans and all the home fans leaving at the same exact time, obviously the chances for trouble would go up significantly. So either you got to go out early or you got to wait till after. and security made him leave early, which stinks. I mean, it was up 3-0. So they were up 3-0, so it's not the end of the world. Kind of stinks you had to leave early, but it's also kind of a badge of honor that they basically forced you to get out of the stadium early. So, and listen, traveling to Costa Rica for a midweek game like that, that's pretty impressive. So shout out to LAFC fans and their supporter groups who are clearly, they're into it and they're doing it the right way. All right, Mikey or Tyler, whichever one is ready.
Tyler can go.
Okay, Tyler.
I know I talked about it at the top of the pod, but I need to say it again because this is my third time to TQL now. It's Cincinnati soccer fans, but I think it's also just like soccer fans in general in this country and like where the game is going. This was a week 3 game and it had a playoff atmosphere and like 25,500 people just jumping the entire game, knowledgeable crowd. Just felt so big time. And like, it's just so much fun to see how far this league has come. And this is my 4th year covering it since I joined in 2020 to what it is now. Like it's just incredible. So shout out to Cincinnati and the Bailey and like that whole operation over there, just real salt of the earth people, like not a massive operation, but just really, really, really good people. And I know that this is a cliche, but cliches are cliches for a reason. Like everybody's wondering why FC Cincinnati have been able to turn it around from what were 3 epically bad seasons. The secret sauce is not that secret. Bring in good people, bring in a coach that knows the league really well. And then also bring in a sporting director or general manager that has a good relationship with that coach, because communication is the key to any good relationship, whether it be romantic or in soccer. And I know that's ironic that MLS Hit-It-N-Quit-It Man is saying that, but yeah, it's very cool to watch what that club has done in very, very short order. So shout out.
All right. Listen, you're a romantic at heart. We all know it. That's 2 shout outs to the American soccer fan right there, 2 in a row. So I really, it's funny that you say it's come that far in like 4 years, because I was thinking like more like 2014 or so when I sort of started blogging and all that stuff. And the difference in MLS and the coverage of it and the fan support for it is just so different in the last, I guess, 9 years or so. It's incredible how far the league has come. A lot further to go, no doubt, but it's incredible. Okay, Mikey, you're up.
It's got to be a full-time job. You're the only guy I think from back in 2014 to now that still replies to every tweet he gets. So shout out to you.
Yeah.
And still isn't making any money off of it.
Just the nicest man ever. I actually, this is an Arsenal homer pick or whatever, but Gabriel Jesus beating his benchmarks and coming back is a pretty cool story about professionalism. And I like the idea of these guys that are used to winning, that are champions, being around the club I support. And the documentary is what I'm trying to shout out, is that they've been documenting his recovery the entire time from the World Cup on. It began as, I think, a documentary about him at the World Cup, and they continued it into what it is now. It's going to be coming out at the end of the season. And seeing him run around and play again was really exciting. Still a 5-point gap, same as when he left. You were the one who asked me if our title hopes were dead when he got injured. So hopefully he remains healthy for the rest of the year. I don't know if I can handle another setback, but I want to give him a shout out. I think I don't ever talk about that kind of Arsenal stuff in this segment, so I'm doing it. He's the
fair. It's fair. Is the documentary specifically about him and his
recovery
journey? Okay. Interesting.
A look into the rehabilitation process at European clubs, which is kind of cool.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you guys. Mikey, Tyler, you guys are the best. Shout out to Timmy for jumping on with us. Always great to have him.
He's great.
He is awesome. It's so great to see him doing well in a city that like I have connected to, and like I can't wait to go see a game there. I know I'm just sort of repeating myself, but the whole situation is just awesome. So shout out to St. Louis fans, anybody who's listening here. You guys are doing it right. Fuck Stan Kroenke, and we'll leave it there for this week. We'll be back better, bigger, faster next week. Thanks guys for listening. See you guys then.